Hi everyone, I'm Chef Steven Saunders and today I'm going to show you how to make a kind of risotto. I actually call it a paella. We live in Spain and I was thinking it is a paella because it's baked in the oven, which is not a risotto. But my Spanish friends said you don't call it paella. You cannot call it a paella because it isn't a paella, and the reason is because the Romans brought the paella pan, the Arabs brought the rice, the Spanish brought the fish, and I said, well, why can't I bring the mushrooms? And they said, no, Stephen, honestly, this isn't a paella, you have to call it a risotto. So we're going to call it a risotto, but it's different to a normal risotto, but it's superior. And apologies to my Italian friends out there, and I know many of them, especially the chefs. But I think the flavours of this dish is absolutely superb. So we're going to firstly start with the mushrooms, and I want to just show you just mushrooms from the supermarket is easy at the moment with lockdown. It's very difficult to get hold of them in a specialist place. So we've got what we call in Spanish setas, which you call pleurettes or oyster mushrooms, and then we have just the normal standard white cap mushrooms, and then also we've got some shiitakes here and some portobellas, and we've sliced them up, and it's going to take about 500 grams of mushrooms. Now mushrooms are the key here. This is a really healthy dish because mushrooms are packed with nutrients and vitamins, vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D, and it also has a powerful antioxidant which is called selenium in a mushroom. And selenium is really great for building up your immune system and for getting your immune system strong. And right now in lockdown, where our immune systems are low, this is the time to give it a beef up. And this dish is, as I said, fantastic, also great for the family. So pan is on hot, a little bit of oil goes in the pan. Real simple cooking this is, because it's home cooking. A little bit of olive oil and a bit of butter. I'm going to take half of this butter and use the other half for the top of the risotto. You could call it risotto, you can't call it a paella, you could call it a mushroom thing. Chef Steven's mushroom thing is fine, I'm happy with that. One onion chopped up goes into the butter and the oil. 2 cloves of garlic chopped up finely goes in there as well. Now give that a stir and just soften down the onions and the garlic, but do not colour it. Obviously don't burn it. So it's poaching. That's why we're using so much butter, because it's kind of poaching in the butter with the oil, which is what I want. I want to get all those flavours into it. Now is the time to add the mushrooms. So we add the mushrooms to that mixture. And as I said, it's about 500 grams. It doesn't have to be specific. And the recipe is in Euro Weekly News. So don't panic. It's in the paper and it's online on euroweeklynews.com. So we fry the mushrooms, onions, garlic in this big pan. If you've got a pan like this, I mean, you could do it, dare I say, in a paella pan, which I think would be fantastic. I've done it in a paella pan many times and it's really good. But if not, just a big kind of saucepan. So we're getting some heat to that, right? Now at this point, we add the rice. Now there's 250 grams of risotto rice, which I've just washed off under cold water to take a little bit of starch off. And we're going to drop that on the top. Really simple. Effectively, it is different to a risotto, but it has all the sort of risotto components. Chuck the mushroom back in again. Jumping out. So look, mushrooms, risotto rice this is as well, onions, garlic, get a little bit of colour, and we're frying the rice. There's nothing wrong with that. That's exactly what we want to do. I want to get a little bit of, not crusty, but kind of almost like a nutty flavour. I'm going to get that by cooking it in the pan. Now at this point, this is when you could add a touch of truffles, fresh truffles, which would be fantastic. Now in the recipe for your weekly, I didn't put them in because they're expensive, but I've actually got truffle pieces here, and I thought I would put them in. So a little bit of truffle pieces, which you can buy like this. Look, truffles in a jar. But when I say pieces, this is like a puree. You can see how nice that is, and that is packed full of flavour. So I'm going to put a big dollop of that in there, whoops, and stir that in, okay, into the mushroom thing. Now at that point, to bring it all together, we're going to put some stock on. There's 500 millilitres of veg stock, and you can buy a veg stock from a carton. You can see what I've got in here. I've got leeks and carrots, a bit of turnip as well, onions and a bit of garlic in there, and some herbs, some coriander. Now the reason I've done that is I've bought because we're at home, this is home food, I've bought a carton of veg stock, but then I've added the leeks, the garlic, the onions and everything to give it that double whammy. And also when I put that in, I wasn't actually very happy, and I'm going to be totally honest. Well, it was a bit weak, so I added a couple of little vegetarian stock cubes as well, just to give it that little bit of boost. So then 500 mils of the stock goes in. Now if you've made risottos, you know you put it in gently, ladle by ladle. You don't have to be so gentle with this one. It's slightly different. What we do need to do is get the stock in, and it needs to be about a finger like this above the rice, and we're going to then put it in the oven and bake it for 20 minutes. So hence it's very different to a risotto really, and as I say, more like a paella. This is exactly how you'd cook a paella, and I'd put some fish in it, obviously, and then at the end I put more fish on. I do it that way rather than bake all the fish in because the fish overcooks. If it was a paella, you'd need to put a bit more spices, but I am going to put some spices. I've got some turmeric, and I've got some, what do you call this in English? Pimienta dulce is red pepper, sweet red pepper. Because we're so used to buying it in. Sweet red pepper, 1 tablespoon. Put that in. And then the turmeric, again 1 tablespoon. Goes in. I mean, you could use saffron, but saffron's expensive. And I'm going to put some tarragon. This is just dried tarragon. So 1 tablespoonful of dried tarragon as well. As I say, don't panic too much. The recipe is online this week. So by the time you watch this video, it will be online. Stir all of that in. The only thing that's missing is seasoning. A bit of Maldon salt would be good. And some black pepper I've got over here. Now, just to finish before it goes in the oven, I'm going to stir a little bit of cheese in it. Which, I mean, this is completely my own invention. It doesn't exist. You can't find a risotto, paella, baked in the oven like this. So, you can make it up as you go along, and that's part of the fun of cooking, really. So look, I've got enough stock in that. And the cheese, Parmesan cheese, is about 200 grams of Parmesan cheese. And I'm taking half of it, so I'm going to take about half and put that in now. And the rest of it I'm going to put on top when it's cooked. So we just reserve that for later. Stir the cheese into this. I mean, that looks pretty damn good now, but it's got to cook. And you could put a little bit of herb in. There's nothing wrong with, you know, a bit of fresh herb in at this stage. We're going to use it at the end as well, but why not put it in now? So a bit of coriander in there, looks great like that. A touch of olive oil on top of it, just to give it that extra little touch of moisture. And that, my friends, amigos, is ready for the oven. It's going to go in an oven on 190 degrees centigrade for at least 20 minutes. And I'm going to set the timer. Hey Siri, set my timer for 20 minutes, please. Set my timer for 20 minutes.
Okay, 20 minutes and counting.
See, Siri's not always obedient. You have to sort of say it politely, otherwise she doesn't do as she's told. And then the pan goes in the oven, 190 degrees centigrade, the top of the oven, shut the oven door, and leave it there until Siri tells me it's ready. Chef is ready. And I take it out and I'll show you. And I'm going to finish it off with some cheese and some butter glazes on the top, some coriander sprigs, and then we're going to eat it. It'll be fantastic. See you in a minute. So the timer's going off, as you can hear. Siri's saying, Chef, food's ready. Stop the timer, 20 minutes in the oven, 190 degrees. But halfway through at 10 minutes, I did put the butter, the remaining butter and the remaining cheese on top and just melted it in. And I haven't picked at it since, but that's what it will look like. Now, if the oven is too fierce, just turn it down a bit, monitor that yourself, because ovens vary. This is truffle oil, and this is the finish, and I've got to say, guys, this is fantastic with a bit of, I know we overdo truffles, us chefs, but my God, the flavours are fantastic when you do this. I'm going to put a little bit of extra black pepper, just freshly ground black pepper on the top, and a little bit of fresh coriander. Now this is a great dish for home cooking, for the family. It's inexpensive, it's hugely nutritional, as I've already explained, and it's just put in the middle of the table. And if you want to add meat to it, because you go, oh no, I've got to have my protein, I've got to have meat, you can add chicken, and you can add a bit of chorizo to it as well if you wanted. Don't call it paella, call it Chef Steven's mushroom thing. It is amazing to eat, and I'm going to just serve it a little bit up just so you can see how it looks. It is honestly amazing to eat. It is nicer than any risotto I've ever eaten, and all my friends that have had it, including all the chefy friends, all agree this is the dish. This, my friends, soft rice, the spices coming through, the veg stock is excellent, the cheesy flavours coming through, and the mushrooms are fantastic. This is the dish, the best dish you're ever going to eat. Enjoy it. Champignoni salvecchi, which means wild mushrooms, risotto thing. Lots of love, enjoy it, see you next time.